Okay, so we have two ways that you can do the map. I'm going to start with being able to do it with the map if you printed it out right here. So you have the printed out map, the printed out version. The first thing we're going to do, because we are going to glue this into our notebook, make sure you get it into your notebook. I know if you're sitting at home, you're going, oh, it doesn't matter. But it's best to have it all together. You don't know if you'll be coming back. And so when you walk in, I expect you to be able to walk into my room and have everything in our notebook and ready to go. All right, so here's my Westward expansion map. We're going to actually start by folding it in half, right there. Woo! So now it looks like a little booklet that I can open and look at. I'm going to glue the back into my notebook, but right here on the front, I'm going to actually write Manifest Destiny. Now, manifest destiny is an idea that came as our people are looking to expand and they start thinking it's our destiny. It's God's will. God means it for us. Manifest destiny has to do with the idea that it's God's will for the U.S. to expand across the land. That we have the best government, we have the best technology, we have the best people, and so it is God's will that we take all of those things that make us so great and bring them to everybody else. And so this idea of it being God's will really gets solidified and put into stone with President James K. Polk. President James K. Polk is going to point out that we need to spread from sea to shining sea to make sure that we can bring our religion, our technology, and our government to others. We thought it was the best. Now, does that hurt other people in the process? Oh, yes, it does. And we are going to look at that. But here we go. We're going to open this up now. If you printed it out and you have it right here. When you look at the map, you should be able to notice that there are some lines that come through our physical features. So we're going to go east to west, the way that our territories were settled, the way that our land was settled. So I'm going to start here on the east coast. And this is, of course, the Atlantic Ocean that the colonists crossed. And when the colonists crossed it, they're going to create the 13 English colonies. And we know all about the 13 English colonies, our New England, Middle, and Southern colonies. We know that these 13 English colonies were blocked by a natural barrier. That natural barrier is none other than the Appalachian Mountains. So I'm going to put AM right there. My Appalachian Mountains blocked their westward expansion. So they really stayed on this east side. Eventually, we are going to get over the Appalachian Mountains, and we're going to look for more land in that Ohio River Valley. We're going to use the Great Lakes. How do we remember the Great Lakes? We have that acronym HOMES, like Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. That's going to connect this territory land to our east coast. This land right here is going to become a part of the United States in the Treaty of Paris, 1783. Specifically looking at this land, we can't forget a significant portion right up there known as our Northwest Territory, setting up the process for territories to become states in our Articles of Confederation and then later in our Constitution. Now, what stopped the USA from going even further? Why did it stop right here? It's because right here, this area right here, go ahead, shade around it just like I am. What is this right here? Well, this is none other than the Mississippi River. Right there is the Mississippi River. All right, Atlantic Ocean, we get our English colonists. They are blocked from their westward expansion by the Appalachian Mountains. Then we get the United States, including the Northwest Territory, the process for territories to become states. Of course, they stop right here at the Mississippi River. Well, in our Constitution, we're going to get our presidents, and Jefferson becomes president number 3. And when Jefferson becomes president number 3, he is going to make the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. There we go. So Jefferson buys the Louisiana Purchase in 1803 from France. And so you might look at it and go, well, it's kind of funny. Why does it look like that? Well, right here, this natural barrier right here is going to be none other than the Red River. And then our natural barrier coming right here, we have another mountain range. And that is going to be our Rocky Mountains. So he doubles the size of the United States by making the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. If you remember, after Jefferson, we had none other than Madison. James Madison becomes our next president, and James Madison, as our next president, is going to involve himself in the War of 1812, also known as the Forgotten War. We cannot forget that Britain is still up here. This is British Canada. Okay, our British Canada land up there, and so with that, we are going to get this land right here. We're going to call this the British Cession, meaning they cede it to us, they give it to us in 1818. So after the War of 1812, they're going to help give us that land at the end of the war, because we are going to try to create, I'm trying to zoom in just a little bit, there we go, a nice line to divide us from the United States and Great Britain. All right, so 1818, we get that land. We are then going to have another president, and none other than James Monroe, and James Monroe as president is going to get us Florida in 1819 with the Adams-Honest Treaty. James Monroe helps get us Florida with the Adams-Honest Treaty. Why do we need Florida? Well, because of course the South wants it. If you remember, the enslaved people from South Carolina and Georgia were escaping down into Florida and creating what we call the Black Seminole Indian tribe. And so they wanted Florida. The South wanted it. All right, so continuing, now we have all this new stuff that we haven't yet talked about. And to know that we're going to actually start with none other than Texas. Getting Texas in 1845, we're going to get Texas. You guys spent a whole year learning about Texas, and it's called the Texas Annexation in 1845. Why is it annexed? Well, they asked to join. They asked to join. We have this boundary right here, and this boundary is our boundary between Texas and Mexico, and that is going to be none other than the Rio Grande. So I'm going to write that right there. There's my boundary between Texas and Mexico. So Texas asks to join. When Texas asks to join, at the same time, we also have people moving to Oregon. The Oregon country. We're going to add the Oregon Territory in 1846. What is it about Oregon? Well, it has fertile soil. It's good for farming. Lots of rain. It also has lots of animals there, hunting. Fur trade was big. When we go to add Oregon, we actually, see how great this line is right here, how perfect it is going across. You know, a lot of our boundaries are physical features like the Appalachian Mountains or the Rocky Mountains or the Mississippi River. Notice how straight that line is. And the reason that line is so straight, it's going to be the 49th parallel. And the 49th parallel divides our United States and our dreams of manifest destiny with British Canada. And so that's why it looks so great and straight right up there. All right, so we're going to add Oregon in 1846. At the same time as Texas is being added, there's questions over, well, where is the boundary? Was it the Rio Grande? Was it the Nueces River? That is going to result in the Mexican-American War. When we go into the Mexican-American War, at the end of it, we are going to actually get all of this land right here from Mexico, and this land is going to be called the Mexican Cession. The Mexican-American War is officially going to end in 1848, right there. It is ceded to us from Mexico. It's cession. Think cede. It's given to us. Why do we want it? Well, we discover there's gold there. And there is one large religious group that was moving there, and that was going to be the Mormons are moving there. And so they're looking for that freedom of religion. So you look at the map and you're like, I'm done. Oh, don't forget, there's a little blurb right there. I call it a little bloop. It just kind of shows up because as we get this land and they discover that gold in 1849 in California, right over here, more and more people are trying to go west. They're going from their states west. And so we're going to buy the Gadsden Purchase. Gadsden Purchase. We are going to get that in 1853. And the purpose of getting the Gadsden Purchase is to build the Transcontinental Railroad. That they want to build a transcontinental railroad, and it was too hard to go over transcontinental. It was too hard to go over the mountains, so the best idea was to go around. And so they need that land right there to go around. You can actually get on a train. You can get on Amtrak in Temple, Texas, the train station, Whistle Stop Park, and go through Texas. And you'll go right through that land all the way up through California and into Oregon. Miss Allison has done it. I've been there. I've been on that train, and it goes right through that deserty area right there. So here is our westward expansion map, fulfilling the ideas of manifest destiny from sea to shining sea. Here is my Pacific Ocean. You need to know where the things are located and why we have them.